Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NEC On The Run podcast. Alongside Ron Ratner, I'm Kyle Turner, and today we're talking men's basketball. Ron, I want you to give me an update on where the teams stand.
Can you believe that we are just 3 weeks away from the NEC tournament? 6 games left in the regular season, and frankly, I don't know that there has ever been a time in NEC history that the teams at the top have been this closely bunched. Now, typically when we've been 2/3 through the season, we've had a team in the past few years that's had a 2 or 3 game lead on the pack. Not this season in the NEC. Right now, 5 teams are within 1 game of first place. That hasn't happened in the last 20 years in the NEC, having that closely bunched pack, all vying for the NEC regular season crown. As we see, Fairleigh Dickinson, St. Francis U and Wagner, all at 8-4, 1 game back, Mount St. Mary's and Sacred Heart. Now, how did they get there? How did they get there last week? Well, St. Francis University was a big story. They've won 3 in a row and 5 out of 6. They swept Bryant and Central Connecticut last week, coming from 15 down in the second half to beat the Bulldogs to get into a first place tie at 8-4. Meanwhile, Wagner and FDU were battling it out themselves on Thursday. We've said it before, we've had some Game of the Year candidates. This may have been the one. We went to overtime, and we're going to see the ending of this game later. I don't want to spoil it now, but Wagner and FDU went toe-to-toe before Fairleigh Dickinson came from 6 down in overtime. They had to rally to get it to overtime. Then once they got there, Earl Potts worked his magic. FDU won, took sole possession of first place Thursday, but then dropped a game to St. Francis Brooklyn on Saturday while Wagner beat the Mount. Where do we find ourselves? All tied up 8-4. No wins and no losses surprise me this year. The parity is incredible. So when a St. Francis Brooklyn comes up and beats the first place team, no surprise. All the teams are pretty even as we head into the final 3 weeks of the regular season. And one thing that this reminds me of this year, I've been around here a long time. If you go all the way back to 2003-04, that season, that was the year where everyone just all sort of came together as the season went on. There was only 4 games difference between the 12-6 champions and the 8-10 qualifiers in the 8th seed for the 8-10 qualifier at the 8th seed for that tournament. We could be in for a similar finish. Lots of tiebreakers, lots of fun as we head down the stretch.
All right, Ron, it's an exciting time in NEC men's hoops. We have 3 weeks left. We'll see where things go. Now it's time to take the Twitter timeout. What do you got?
Love this timeout, Kyle. We're going to go to Loretto. Ronnie Drinnen on Saturday against Central Connecticut had the game of his life. He's the NEC Player of the Week. We'll hear more about that game later and just how special it was. But what was just as impressive to me on Saturday is what Ronnie did on social media after the game. What he did was he gave a shout out to Central Connecticut head coach Howie Dickerman and star player Brandon Peel. Let's take a look. Utmost respect for Peel and Coach Dickerman, 2 class acts. To me, this is what NEC Pride is all about and the respect that people and players have for each other in this league. And let me tell you this right now, that's 3 class acts. He said 2. I think Ronnie Drinnen, class act himself. Well done, young man.
Well, Ron, like you said, Ronnie Drinnen showing some class there. It's great to see respect shown between players and coaches from different teams. Now it's time to go to the quote of the week. Who said it?
Who said it? Now, you got the first 2 right. You've gotten the last 2 weeks, you haven't gotten it. This is it. This puts you back up over 500 if you can get this one. I think I got you again. All right, here we go. Who said it? We definitely feel better today. We came in here knowing we would have a good day. That was the mantra all day long. It's going to be a good game. Go hard on every play. And also, we knew to attack the basket, so that was a big part of the game, going hard to the rim. Kyle, who said it?
I want to say it's a Robert Morris player. I'm going to go with Rodney Pryor.
You would be almost correct. It is a Robert Morris player, but it was Billy Giles. And if you had followed me on Twitter on Saturday, you would know that no one took it to the rim harder than Billy Giles. 5 dunks, not 1, not 2, not 3. 5 dunks in one game. I said it, he made his own mixtape in one day. What a day it was for Robert Morris, turning it around against Bryant on Saturday. Billy Giles was a big part of it. And that quote, he's the one who said it, Kyle.
All right, well, now I'm at 2-3 for the season so far, so keep them coming. But now, folks, it's time to head to the NEC film room where Ron is going to break down some key plays from the past week.
We're back in the NEC film room where we will look at 3 plays that made waves last week in NEC men's hoops. Let's start in Staten Island. I want to take a look at Cory Henson, one of the best shooters in the conference, maybe one of the best shooters in the region and country. And let's see how Cory Henson is able to get so wide open at points for him to shoot his silky, smooth jump shot from 3-point range. Let's roll it. Now you see Henson, number 0. He is now, stop it, he is in the corner there. Wagner's going to run a little misdirection here. We got Mike Amon down on the block, but it's all to set up Cory Henson coming off a double screen, and he will come off the screen. First Mike Amon, then Jafet Kaji. Henson will work real hard to get open in the opposite corner. Roll it. Here comes the double screen action, and take a look at this step back. Boy, he's been doing this. 2-point shots, 3-point shots, silky smooth, sweet jump shot. Cory Henson, Wagner College. Our next play was also on Saturday. We are in Fairfield, Connecticut at the Pitt Center. And I want to be a little bit timely here because the Super Bowl was on Sunday, and we're going to take a look at Quincy McKnight and Kane Broom. Kane Broom is going to be the facilitator on this occasion. And Quincy McKnight, he's going to run the equivalent of a post route right here on the break to take the alley-oop from Kane Broom. You'll see Quincy McKnight at the bottom of your screen, Kane Broom at the top with the ball. Roll it. Here he comes, puts his hand up. LIU gets caught napping. He curls in under the hoop. Another Quincy McKnight dunk. Another great Kane Broom pass. He can do more than just shoot for Sacred Heart. Our third and final play in the film room takes us back to Staten Island in the Spiro Center for one of the games of the year in the NEC. FDU at Wagner, battling it out in overtime here. FDU has no shortage of young players who want to take and make big shots. And first you're going to see Earl Potts. They were down 6. Darnell Edge had come down and hit a 3 to cut it to 79-76. Now it's Earl Potts' turn. Roll it. Man in his face, hits the shot, ties it up. Pause it for a second. Next we're going to see FDU back with the ball, tie game. We're going to see the clock running down. Let's see what happens. We'll start with Stefan Jiggets with the ball in the front court. 13 seconds on the clock, stop right here. What I love on this play, before we even get to the game winner, is the hustle of Marcus Towns. You'll see him at the top of the screen, near the sideline, near the bench, and watch his hustle here. Roll it. He comes in, goes up hard for the rebound, takes the shot, misses it, gets it again, stop it. And right here on the baseline, on the top of your screen, Earl Potts, smart enough to flare out to the 3-point line, away from the traffic. And despite having 4 players, looks like 4 players surrounding him, 5 in the lane almost, Marcus Towns has the wherewithal to find Potts in the corner, and Earl does what he does best. Go. Hits big shots. The Duke of Earl, 82-79. FDU wins it, and for at least 2 days, we're all alone in first place in the Northeast Conference.
All right, NEC men's basketball fans, we're back from the NEC film room where Ron Ratner just broke down some key plays from the past week for you. Now, Ron, it's time to move to the next segment. What fact or facts do you have for me on Did You Know?
Did You Know this week is all about statistical superlatives. Right now, Kyle, 3 times in a row, can you say that? Statistical superlatives?
Statistical superlatives, statistical superlatives.
Can't do it.
I can't do
it.
I can't do it.
All right, the first superlative. Sacred Heart's Jordan Allen, a graduate student. What a game he had against LIU on Saturday. He is one of 13 players in the nation this season to finish a game with at least 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists. Had some nice passes in this game for a big. Our next player focusing on our Did You Know is St. Francis U senior guard Ben Malone. No one is hotter, maybe in the country right now, from distance than Ben Malone. He again had an 8 3-pointer game this past Saturday, did it against Central Connecticut State. He's one of 7 players across the country this season to have 2 games of 8 3-pointers. Ben Malone, red hot, just like the Red Flash. Finally, on our Did You Know, Ronnie Drinnen. We alluded to him before, his big game. This is one of the greatest games I've ever seen from a player in the Northeast Conference. Finished with 23 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists in that win over Central Connecticut. Tough game, 91-82 win, but Drinnen was everywhere that day. Just the 6th player in the last 19 years to have a 20-20 game. He's also, check this out, Kyle. He is one of 7 players since 2010 with a 20-20 game and throwing 5 assists to boot. One of them is Ben Simmons, the LSU's freshman phenom this year. Ronnie Drinnen, he had a huge putback in Thursday's win against Bryant. Then he came back with the big numbers. Jordan Allen, Ben Malone, Ronnie Drinnen. These Did You Know, this is a good set of Did You Knows here. Statistical superlatives last week.
Well, Ron, you're right in saying statistical superlatives. I was able to say at that time.
It's good for the host to be able to do that.
But now let's move to NEC on the Dial, and to my understanding, there's an NEC first going on this week.
Triple header. A triple header. The NEC's first triple header broadcast. We're going to start it all. It's this Thursday. NEC Thursday is going to start early today. So you may have to sneak out of work a bit sooner than you usually do. We're on ESPNU, SFU against Robert Morris. ESPNU 5 p.m. We're going to follow that up with a pair of games on MSG and Fox College Sports. Central Connecticut at St. Francis, Brooklyn at 7. Stay tuned on MSG and FCS because FDU and Bryant are up next at 9 o'clock. We have 2 more games on Saturday. We're going to start on ESPN 3. We have SFU in the Mount. That is a big game on Saturday at 3 o'clock. And then at 6 p.m., Robert Morris coming east to play league leader Fairleigh Dickinson on MSG, FCS, and for our fans out in Western PA on Route Pittsburgh, a 6 p.m. game. Come back Monday. We had the Battle of Brooklyn. This isn't the official Battle of Brooklyn, but it's the 2 neighborhood rivals going at it for the first time. This game will be televised nationally on ESPNU, President's Day special at 1 p.m. So hopefully you're at home watching it in your living room. If not, great game to come out to in Brooklyn, LIU St. Francis. That game always delivers. It's a big week of NEC TV.
It is a big week in NEC TV. Like you said, Ron, we had the first ever NEC triple header on Thursday, and then you've got the games on Saturday, not to mention the President's Day battle between LIU Brooklyn and St. Francis
6
Brooklyn.
games in 5 days.
It's impressive. And also, fans, don't forget you can catch all the other games live on necfrontrow.com. That's it for this week's edition of the NEC On The Run podcast, talking men's basketball. Alongside Ron Ratner, I'm Kyle Turner, and we'll see everyone next week.